Today, we're diving into a pretty amazing blueprint for the school of the future. We're talking about a plan that sees AI as way more than just a new tool. It's the engine for a complete reinvention of how we learn. So yeah, let's get into it. I mean, just think about that for a second. Imagine a school that moves at your speed, that gets your interests, that understands how you learn best. A place where the whole point isn't just to check boxes, but for you to actually master stuff, your way. And look, this is not science fiction. The source material we're digging into today shows the pieces are already falling into place. It's a vision that uses AI to make learning more personal, more supportive, and, honestly, more human. Now, we have to be really clear about something right up front. This is not about just throwing a bunch of tablets at students and calling it a day. No, this is a fundamental redesign of the entire experience. We are talking about a total overhaul. I mean, from how kids learn and teachers teach, all the way to the physical layout of the school building itself. AI is basically the engine driving this whole new dynamic ecosystem. So, what does this actually look like for a student? What's different about their day-to-day? Let's take a look. Okay, so the heart of this whole thing is something called adaptive learning. The best way to think about it is like a personal GPS for your education. While you're working, the AI is analyzing your progress. It sees where you're excelling, and it spots exactly where you're getting stuck. So if you're struggling with, say, fractions, the system might give you a quick animated video, then maybe some practice problems that get a little harder each time. It literally builds a learning path that's just for you. This whole approach gives students a brand new, super powerful toolkit. They've got interactive courses called KI-Musik, which are custom generated by AI to fit exactly what they need. They have virtual tutors, basically chatbots that can answer questions anytime, 24/7, so no more being stuck until the next day. And maybe most importantly, they get instant, specific feedback on their work, which helps them improve in the moment. And we're not talking about some generic, good job message. Get this, here's a real example from the source material. For a creative writing piece, the AI points out the great word choice, but then gives super specific, actionable advice. Try breaking up your longer sentences and watch for repeated words. That is constructive, it's immediate, and it actually helps the student get better right then and there. So this leads to a totally new way of getting feedback. First, the student reflects on their own work, using checklists. Then, they get input from their friends. After that, the AI gives its detailed analysis. And here's the key. By the time the assignment gets to the teacher, all the basic stuff has already been handled. The teacher is no longer a proofreader, they're a high-level coach, ready to focus on the deep stuff. And that shift, right there, is one of the most powerful ideas in this whole model. The teacher's role is completely transformed. This slide just sums it up perfectly. Teachers are no longer the sage on the stage, the one person with all the knowledge. Instead, they become the guide on the side. They're not just giving lectures anymore. They're facilitating real learning, coaching students one-on-one, and becoming true mentors. So you're probably asking, how in the world does a teacher have time for all this? Well, this is where AI does the heavy lifting. It helps create the personalized course materials, it crunches all the performance data so teachers can see trends in a second, it handles boring admin tasks like parent emails, and it gives that all-important first round of feedback. All that automation frees teachers up to focus on the things that only a human can do, the stuff that an algorithm will never be able to do. Having that deep conversation with a student who's struggling, leading a really thoughtful class discussion, or offering genuine mentorship. Okay, so a new way of learning and a new way of teaching, well, that needs a whole new kind of school structure to support it. Think of it as a new operating system, one that's built on trust, not just on rigid rules. So, instead of grouping kids by their age, this model groups them into flexible learning groups based on what they can actually do. And moving up isn't just about grades. It's about earning more freedom and independence by showing you're responsible. This is about teaching real-world skills, like managing your own time and taking ownership of your work. They call it the trust system. Everyone starts out at the basis level, working with a lot of support. As you prove you can work on your own, you level up. You go from starter to dirt starter, which is kind of like a go-getter, where you can even work in the hallway. And finally, you can reach Learn Profi, the Learning Pro, which gives you total freedom to manage your time and work anywhere in the school. Of course, with that much freedom, you need a clear system for accountability. And that's where the traffic light system comes in. It's super transparent. Green means you're doing great.
Orange is a warning. Red means you lose some of those privileges and have to do a reflection task. And black is for really serious stuff. The whole point is clarity and consistency, teaching that freedom and responsibility always go together.
What's really cool is how the school's physical space actually changes to reflect this system. The regular classroom is kind of a home base for the beginner levels. Then you have quiet learning rooms for focused work and lounges for collaboration. And for those learning pros, the entire school campus becomes their learning space. The building itself is designed to support you as you grow more independent.
So, this is a really powerful, really exciting vision. But let's be real. Putting something like this into practice means we have to be super thoughtful and clear-eyed about the challenges. AI really has two faces. There's the promise of this friendly, helpful assistant that makes learning amazing, but we have to be so careful about how we build these things because we definitely want to avoid a more controlling, dystopian outcome.
And the source material is very clear about this. We have to ask the really hard questions. How do we protect student data? How do we make sure the algorithms aren't biased? And maybe the most important question of all, how do we make sure that technology makes the human connection between students and teachers stronger, not weaker? And that, right there, is the bottom line. The goal is not technology just for the sake of technology. It's about using AI to build a more supportive, more responsive, and more trusting world for learning. A world where teachers can truly teach and students can truly, deeply thrive. This whole model just shows what's possible when we combine smart technology with a deeply human vision for education. And it leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Is the system we have now really the best we can do? Or is it maybe time for an upgrade?